Welcome back for another episode of Hanashi Round. Today...
Hanashi Masho!
Nani?
And today, with the Great Pretender. No, Great Pretender.
Great Pretender. Just Great Pretender.
Just Great Pretender. There's no the. Interesting show.
Yeah.
Another Netflix collaboration.
Let's get into it in depth, my friends. We're going to dissect everything.
Yes.
And give our opinion. We start with
Originality.
Yeah, so Originality. I think it's nice to see something unique. Like it has a different tone, it has a different feel to it. It's not your typical anime. It has a very different approach to everything, I feel. Yeah, this Heist gangster thing is something I'm not really aware that there's too many anime about that. It's a pretty rare thing. And with the whole setup in Los Angeles and stuff, originality is pretty high. I guess for an anime, 10 out of 10.
Right, cool. It's definitely really high up there in terms of originality. I can't deny that. Like, we have a different setting than we normally have. It plays outside of Japan, and
No high schoolers.
no high schoolers. Well, we are not sure. He is kind of high schooly. Well, he went to prison, so he's no high schooler. In any case, it is very original. We have multicultural group of people, a multicultural cast. It's not just Japanese, and it tries something new, which I like. That they're risking things. That it is not for the typical audience. Maybe the heist theme is also something we don't see too often. So yeah, it's for me also a 10 out of 10.
So story. Tough to say. By now, for the record's sake, I've watched only 5 episodes, so the first arc of it. So we have obviously different arcs throughout the show, not just one overarching thing, which is okay, I guess. I like it when things have an overarching plot and then we have like different stories that connect each other, but an overall story. The story itself for the first 5 arcs was, for like this gangster thing, I think it was pretty good. Like the characters were well developed, whatever. You get to know the main character quite a bit. That he's like a nice guy. Everything works out with with his bodyguard and all that stuff. So yeah, the story itself, for my personal taste, it wasn't like overly catchy, to be honest. I was interested in how it goes, but not like, oh damn it, I need to know. It was like, oh, it's the next episode is out. Yeah, I like to watch it, but it wasn't like, I need to watch it. So, story. I'm trying to be fair. 8 out of 10.
Well, as I said before, I binged it all through and I enjoyed it quite a lot. I liked the characters and how they were. I wish the main character, Iramame, wouldn't be as wimpy as he is. I understand he is supposed to be the straight man in comparison to all the crazy ones around him, but he is too freaked out by too many things for my liking. Maybe in the beginning it's fine, but later on he loses his head way too often.
Like, I feel like that's okay. I feel like he's just like, he comes from Japan where crime and these kind of con men isn't like that much of a big thing, and he's not that much of a big fish, so I feel like that's okay.
Okay, fair enough.
For the scale of the scheme...
You're right. I don't know, I just wish he would keep his cool in sometimes more often, like that he is actually having an own plan by himself, that he is on a similar level as they are, even though it doesn't seem like it. At the moment, he just looks like a newbie in comparison to them, and that he can't hold his own with them. That everyone
else.
That's
okay. My opinion is.
All right, fair enough. It's just how I felt about him. Apart from that, I found it interesting. It was cool. It was pretty adult. It could have been even more adult in some parts, and I can't really complain that much. So I guess also an 8.
Just one thing I like to add is like at the end of the 5th episode where he's like, spoiler alert, giving his money away.
Yeah.
That was like, I wish they would just be like con men and conning people for money. That's it. Not they're secretly the good guys. We're robbing hoods of conning. Yeah. So like, just let them be bad. That's kind of...
That would have been alright in this case too. I thought he would be conning them. For me, this whole thing would have been alright if it's only 5 episodes, and that would have been the end. That it continues from there on, I found it a very weird cut or intermission that didn't make much sense for me, especially how it continues afterwards. I mean, he is obviously not written out of the story, he is still part of it. If they kept the whole story wrapped up within these 5 episodes, and that's the whole anime, it would have been really, really cool, like a basically long film. But otherwise, that part I didn't enjoy that much.
But let's talk now about the animations. I feel, and I had to look it up because I felt sometimes it had even a trigger vibe to it.
Yes.
The colors and the hair and the faces. But no, the character designer isn't working or never worked on anything trigger. The only thing that may be the influence for what I thought would be trigger is that he designed the characters or worked on the characters on Evangelion. At least the movies. So, and this is kind of Gainax and this is kind of Trigger, so maybe that's what I saw, or maybe it's just imagination. Who knows? So yeah, I like the colors, and I like the art style overall. Like it's a bit kind of
it's very gritty. It's like it hasn't rendered properly yet.
Yeah, right. I like that. It's pretty unique and
totally.
So. But the overall like animations itself aren't too over the top brilliant. They're solid, they're good for what they want to show, but it's not like crazy movements or anything. So I give it... It's always difficult if you're judging it for what it's trying to be or what it could be.
Yeah.
But for what I think 8 again, I guess. It's alright.
As I said, the colors are really unique and it's very special. It looks fantastic at times, some other times it's maybe too much, but what I liked about it, just to think about that it is an animation project, like the whole story could have been done with high budget, especially the second arc, high budget movie with real actors, real people, so it's quite interesting or even cool to see it in an animation style, and that they give it this unique touch with special environments, special colors, etc. Makes it cool that they use the medium of animation. There's no breaks, there is no big problems, it just works fine. It's smooth enough, it's good enough, it works. So yeah, I think for me a 9, just because I like the art style a lot.
Alright, so fun. How much fun is it? That's such a hard question. Like, this is like my personal thing. I'm not saying this is a general thing. This one I'm going to judge just from my perspective and very subjective. The overall episodes were interesting and you had fun watching it, kind of. But as an anime, I hadn't fun watching it.
Yeah.
Like if that would have been, like I said, a real live action Netflix show, like Breaking Bad 2.0 kind of, then I think it would have been not more enjoyable, but it would have worked just as fine. And that kind of is for me the thing, that it's not, in my opinion, not really using like the strong points for anime, that it's more over the top, more crazy, more giant robot attacking someone kind of craziness. It was just your typical real down-to-earth story.
Yeah.
And you can judge that however you want to judge that. You can be like, oh, that's awesome, just a grounded thing. I like grounded stuff. I never see that in anime. I want to see that. Then that's just fine. For me it was, because it was too grounded, I think that's why it wasn't that much fun to watch it.
Yeah.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, with the fun part, that's, as I said before, I feel quite ambivalent about the show. I liked it, it was cool, I enjoyed it a lot, but sometimes it had those hiccups, those stepping stones where it staggered or fell over itself. And with the fun part, you had moments where it went really high up, but then you had a sudden drop off right after, and it dragged on. I mean, I don't mean his backstory per se. It's good that he has such a saddening backstory, but in comparison to the probable other characters, what backstory they will have, I guess, it's fairly weak-ish, at least.
Yeah, I thought you were going somewhere different. I thought you say like, and this is something I just realized, that Edamura, he has a pretty developed backstory.
Yeah.
And all the other characters we know pretty much nothing about.
Yeah, I'm going with a 7 too.
So overall, I think the whole thing was pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I felt where it kind of started to fall apart was the fact that he gave the money away, but that's all still alright. The only thing I felt was a bit too much was there's a little logic gap in the last part where they're surrounded in the factory. And there are like a bazillion SWAT people.
Yeah.
Why did the director dude, the drug dude, how did he even escape? How did he was able to push this button to let the thing explode? There was no, like, we saw that he had the woman at gunpoint kind of, and the other policemen were there, but the SWAT team, what did they do? Like,
they stood around and waited.
Yeah, but not stop the dude from letting the factory explode. Great job, SWAT team. So that's where I was like, it has weak points.
It was also hindering the suspension of disbelief that no one got hurt, no one was really injured, no one was killed in the whole thing. If something went wrong overall, it wouldn't hit the tone of the show, and that is one of my problems with the show, that the overall tone, it tries to be more mature and adult, but then it has these logic gaps that hold it back, or it doesn't quite know if it's for kids or if it's for adults. And
it's not brave enough to take this final step, like being really, we're just conmen, just like evil guys, and people die, you know, like this last kind of step for it to be like really great or really awesome, I feel. So overall, fair would be 9 out of 10, but I tend to 8 out of 10 just for personal reasons.
We had decimals.
Right, we can do that. So I go with 8.4.
It's a show I totally could recommend to others and see why it's very likable. As I said, once more, I enjoyed it a lot and it was easy to watch. My criticism is more in the direction of that there could have been even more, and that sometimes I had this little drag in between of the episodes. But overall, I'd give it an 8.7. Yes, I'll give it an 8.7.
Alright. I think that's an overall pretty solid rating. What do you guys think? How would you rate it? 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 1 out of 10? Do you agree or disagree with us?
Yeah, what did you like? What did you not like?
Thumbs up us if you hate us. No, that's wrong. Thumbs up if you agree and leave a comment. Or thumbs down if you think we're just idiots and this show deserves 10 out of 10. Anyways,
please like, subscribe, do the other things that other people recommend to do on YouTube.
Right. You heard that stuff over and over. So just do it, goddammit. And we see you in the next video if you press the subscribe button.
Yeah, totally. Then you know that we're on.